Hello everyone, it is LB3 of LB3 Scouting, and I am back again with another video. With college finally out of the way, there's a ton of draft content coming your way, and while I prep for the more in-depth stuff, I thought it would be fun to start with a series of more fun videos, looking back on the last decade of the draft. In this first episode of this series that we're doing, we will be looking at draft steals. A draft steal is, of course, when a team is able to get a valuable contributor out of someone that is a later draft pick. For the purpose of this video, we'll be ignoring players taken in the first or second round, and also maybe a bit more controversially, we will be ignoring all undrafted free agents. The draft is already a crapshoot, but undrafted free agents are even more so. With that, let's get started with the first player. At number 10 on our list is quarterback Kirk Cousins. While it was a confusing decision at the time, taking a quarterback in the 4th round the same year they took one second overall, it ended up working out with Kirk Cousins being a solid starter. While it didn't work out for Washington in the end, with Cousins joining Minnesota after being tagged twice, he probably bought the Gruden regime a couple more years with his good play. And, that may be a bad thing to some people, but his good play was definitely something good for the Washington team overall. At number 9 on our list is another Minnesota player and former LSU edge, Danielle Hunter. While no one will blame teams for passing on the very rough around the edges Hunter, he has developed beautifully in Minnesota, and he's become one of the league's best edge players, and has potential to have a Hall of Fame career if he can continue to produce as he has been and grow each season. He's still a young player, but he's already grown so much, and he still has room to grow. Next up at number 8 is Falcons defensive tackle Grady Jarrett. This was someone that myself and a lot of draft Twitter were big fans of in the lead up to the draft, and could not believe that he fell as far as he did. A powerful player who's able to both shut down the run and get after the quarterback, getting a guy that can lock down and get pressure in the interior in the 5th round is a true draft steal. Well, now of course they're going to have to pay up for him, but it will be worth every penny if he continue to play like he has up to this point in his career. At number 7 on our list is Eagles center Jason Kelce. Centers are one of the few players that do often come from later rounds, but Kelce stands out for how much of an anchor he has been for the Eagles line, which has been one of the better in the NFL during his career. The Eagles have actually shown good propensity for building an offensive line without using premium picks, with Brandon Brooks also being a draft steal himself, although I gave the nod to Kelce for the longevity of his career and the consistency while coming from Cincinnati. At number 6 on our list is Dallas Cowboys quarterback Dak Prescott, someone who I never understood why he went as late as he did in the draft, but who has obviously way outperformed even my expectations. While he has been in a great situation with a good offensive line and a good running back, Dak has had a great start to his career, and a case can be made for him going above the 2 quarterbacks who went 1st and 2nd overall in his draft, which is absolutely crazy value for a 4th round quarterback, and as it's the most important position in football, that is great value and a huge draft steal. At number 5 on our list is someone I'm very happy to talk about as a Bengals fan, and that is of course Cincinnati Bengals defensive tackle Geno Atkins. Pushed down because of being small for a defensive tackle at barely 6 foot, that has been his biggest strength in the NFL thus far. His ability to use his size to maintain leverage has kept Atkins as one of the best interior pass rushers in the league for his entire career. While he may not get there, Atkins is a borderline Hall of Fame talent, and that is a massive steal in the 4th round. At number 4 on the biggest draft steals of the decade is one of the best offensive tackles of the decade in Packers offensive tackle David Bakhtiari. Rodgers has had great pass protection for his career, and a huge part of that has been Bakhtiari just absolutely locking down his blind side against even some of the best pass rushers of this era. Bakhtiari should absolutely get Hall of Fame consideration when he finally hangs them up, and it will be a sad day for the Packers organization trying to find a replacement for him, especially as they'll have to probably spend premium picks to get a guy like him again. Number 3 on our list is cornerback Richard Sherman. As much as people want to talk about Earl Thomas being the brain of the Legion of Boom or Cam Chancellor being the heart, there never would have been a Legion of Boom without Seattle hitting on an unlikely pick to get arguably the best cornerback of the decade. An absolute ball hawk, Richard Sherman started a trend of big, loud mouth cornerbacks, but no one else holds a candle. 100% a Hall of Famer, and they got him all the way in the 5th round. Number 2 on our list is another guy that should have been and could still be a Hall of Famer technically, but he has tainted his legacy. Of course, I'm talking about Antonio Brown, who, if he had retired for the season, I think I could make a pretty decent case for the Hall of Fame with one of the best 6-year stretches of wide receiver play ever. The ultimate underdog coming in raw with poor testing and as a late round draft pick, he became one of the best wide receivers in the NFL, constantly developing his route running and his hands, and he looked even more athletic than he tested. He was one of the biggest late round success stories of the current era of the NFL. At number 1 is someone who should be obvious, and not just because he is in the thumbnail. Russell Wilson is one of the best quarterbacks in the NFL, and in a redraft would be the top pick in a class with Andrew Luck, who is seen as the best prospect in a long time, and Robert Griffin III, who, while he didn't work out, was an insane athlete and had a cannon for an arm. And if you don't think that's amazing, I don't know what to tell you. While he was not the same player he is now for their Super Bowl runs, he has continually gotten better, and the Seahawks have been extremely lucky that they got one of the best quarterbacks in the NFL in the 3rd round. Alright everyone, that was the top 10 draft steals of the decade. Coming soon will be more top 10 of the decade lists, and there's also an in-depth look at quarterback prospect series that I hope to get started and coming up soon, and potentially I want to do an intro to scouting series if there's enough support and interest, and if I can do it in a way that I am satisfied with. And overall, that is all we have for today. I hope to continue to bring you more content throughout the draft season. I hope you really enjoyed, and if you did, so make sure to subscribe and go check out my other videos. Thank you very much. Have a nice day. This has been LB3 of LB3 Scouting.